We're ready.
Okay. Sangaitla, Yakesutat. Good day and good morning, everyone. Chish, Hawa so much for joining us for this coffee time on healing on this National Day of Remembrance for our boarding school survivors, their descendants and families, communities, and of course, those who did not make it home yet, but will. And we honor each and every single Indigenous person today and all of your ancestors. Because of them, we are here. And we're going to start off first with an opening blessing from Xaadaas, and then we'll get into our coffee time. Xaadaas?
Dan Nazoon, everyone. Anabaset for our guests and hosts for joining us today on this very special day. Today, I want to give thanks to our creator, Danahato, for making this space for us to gather and remember. There's so much that we need to remember and honor, give light to things that have come into the open now. Today, we will remember Anabaset for bringing this special group of elders and leaders together. Ancestors, thank you for joining us, surrounding us with your love and strength, grounding us in our culture. Anabaset Danahato.
Anabase. Chish, Xaadaas for that beautiful opening. And thank you so much for being with us and being our tech host and running behind the scenes for us as we make a space, a good space to talk about these truths that are coming out and the healing that our community is embarking on in such a big and profound way. Nun Kwaigai Get Kianan Sinudi Nan Kiagan. Nun Kwaigai Get Kianans was my grandmother, Mona Jackson. She was originally Mona Ingram, then Mona Frank, from Haida Gwi, then Hick to Hunline in Heidelberg, and then making her home in our community here of Gwich'in. Kanahek Kinudi Chan Kiagan. Kanahek was my grandfather. Xaadaas, he was Lingít, and his homelands are here in Lingít Ani in Gwich'in, the mouth of the Don people. And they're behind me in my virtual background, and they were both survivors of boarding schools. Stathkawas Hinudi Aukiang. Stathkawas is my mother, Delachini. She's a weaver and a teacher. Bill Chini Hinudi Khadkiang. Bill Chini is my father. He makes his home here in our community of Cake. Lagunai Hinudi Khadkil Dikiang. Lagunai is my Khadkil name. Gatsakas Gusudikwa Lagun, I am eagle. Chichkitne Uda Ijang, and I am a hummingbird woman. I am also Lingít. I am Yechtna Chatsati. I am a raven. Kachadi Ayachat, and I am Kachadi. And I am Kachadi, which is freshwater mark sockeye salmon. And I'm so honored to be able to be here as a host for First Alaskans Institute for this coffee time with our two really special co-hosts, Valerie and Nurr'araaluk Davidson and Dr. Jessica Black. And I'll ask them each to introduce themselves. And I'll go to Nurr'araaluk, who is my also my sister and trustee.
Yana. Huinga Nurr'araaluk ko misama kanan su Iñupiaq ko mamtakil kami anaka kuya kami Ahtna kasawok Port Orchard, Washington na kami huinga Kekwan Naugwa Lingít Naugwa Haida Naugwa Jasna Hagan Zaugwa. My Iñupiaq names are Nurr'araaluk and Misama kanan, and my English name is Valerie Davidson. My mother's family is from Gwich'in on the coast near Bethel. I'm originally from Bethel. My father's family is from Port Orchard, Washington, and they're Kasak, which means they're not Iñupiaq.
Yeah.
And I was adopted by the Jackson family, by Liz's family. And so Liz is my clan sister. I was adopted by their family many years ago, and they're from Cake, as Liz said, and they're both Lingít and Haida, and I was given the Haida name Jasna Higgins. And I just wanted to also acknowledge that while I'm from Bethel, today I'm actually speaking from Anchorage, the traditional homelands of the Dena'ina people, and I just want to acknowledge their incredible stewardship of this land, where we have the great pleasure and honor to live, work, learn, and play. I wanted to thank big giant Qoyana to First Alaskans Institute for sponsoring this event and all of the other sponsors. One of the things I appreciate so much about First Alaskans is that they don't ever shy away from having the really difficult conversations, the things that need to be said, that need to be brought out into the open. And so we really appreciate everyone joining us today, and I'm looking forward very much to hearing what our three elders here have to share with us. But in the meantime, maybe I'll turn it over to Jessica and ask Jessica to introduce herself. Oyana.
Oyana, Masicho, Shojri, Jessica Blackoji, Gwich'in, Gwatsan Itli, Gatanan Gwich'in, Shahan Marlene, Shiti Bill, Shitsu, Shitsi, Sarah, Isaac John, Gwich'in, Gwatsan Hisha. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jessica Black, and my family's from Gwich'in, Fort Yukon, but I also grew up in Nenana, right down the highway. So I want to say Masicho to the Lord Tanana Dene for helping to raise me and ground me in their beautiful homelands. I have the honor and privilege of teaching. I'm a professor here at University of Alaska Fairbanks on the traditional homelands of the Lord Tanana Dene. I'm very grateful for their past, present, and future stewardship. I also wanted to say Masicho to our elders who are going to share today from their hearts about something very personal to them, and just the love and light they bring to the world through their stories they share on Facebook and their willingness to just put themselves out there. I've gotten the opportunity to have Fred serve as an elder in my classrooms, and Liz and I sit on a board together. She's a mentor of mine. And Jim, I've always looked up to you. We're Facebook friends, and I just have so much admiration for all that you have done and continue to do. So thank you, all three of you. And later on, I would like to read a poem by Abigail Echo Hawk, and I did receive permission from her to read her poem as part of this event, but would love to hear from the elders first. So Masicho.
Oh goodness, sheesh, how it is such a honor to be able to be with these three beautiful souls. And it's overwhelming, all the things that are coming out and coming to light these days. And if I feel this, I can't imagine what they're feeling. And so grateful for their leadership and for their generosity of their spirits, and for the strength of their ancestors who made it possible for them to be here with us. Today, this coffee time on healing was a chance for us to hear from three really incredibly powerful people who have been on their journey of healing and are survivors of boarding schools. We know that a lot of this information and these memes and infographics and stories and news articles, they're just coming. It's just beginning, and it's already a lot. And we wanted to do something today with these healers that are with us, to help others grapple with knowing how to set themselves up for a stronger way of healing and of persisting, and to know that people are not alone in this journey. And as more and more of these truths come forward, We don't want people to feel like they don't have a touchstone or an anchor to the goodness and to the healing that comes, and they are epitomes of that, and for that we thank them. So I want to introduce our first elder that is here with us, and recognize all of the work that he's done throughout his career for our Native people. Jim LaBelle has been so involved in ANCSA, and we know that this is the 50th year of ANCSA. And we know he's been a professor in the university, and then he retired, and then he's like Michael Jordan because they brought him back. So Jim, would you like to introduce yourself to everyone?
Thank you so much. This is really an amazing gathering here, and I just have to appreciate and acknowledge the work that you're all doing to help us further understand the history, our shared history that we've had. My Iñupiaq name is Ahtna. My roots go to Kotzebue. My dad was a white guy from Wisconsin. He died when I was very young, so I never got to know him. I basically grew up identifying as an Iñupiaq. But like Fred, John, we went to Wrangell together, and I hope to get an opportunity to share our story with all of you.
Jim, appreciate that so much, and for you being here with us. And I know that your beautiful wife is next to you, so all of our appreciation to her as well. And now I'll turn it over to Nurr'araaluk, who will introduce our other guests.
I just wanted to next introduce or ask him to introduce himself, Fred John, but before he does, many of us are so lucky to know Fred, and I know that many of us are also his Facebook stalkers, where we look forward to his Facebook posts where he shares all kinds of incredible knowledge. And you know, when that happens, sometimes you know, there's some negative Nancy or negative Ned who sometimes will criticize, and you know, that just comes with the territory. And I really appreciate that Fred is always willing to put it out there, because he recognizes that we're really starving, we're craving for this information, that sharing it on Facebook or whatever it is really a way for us to be able to document what happened, so that we and our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren never ever forget. I had the great pleasure of working with Fred. Fred is on the APU Elders President's Council, and so I think I'm just going to stop talking so that I can ask Fred to introduce himself appropriately and not be all fangirl, but it's kind of hard. So with that, Fred.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Fred John Jr. My parents is Fred and Katie John of Mentasta. I went to Wrangell, 1950 to 57. That's where I met James. I have so much to say, and I'm trying, yeah, my wife's here trying to set me up. Just a second.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Fred. We'll just finish our introductions, and
Okay.
Jessica, do you like to introduce Liz Sunnyboy?
Yes, it's my great honor to introduce Elizabeth Sunnyboy, who, like I said, is a mentor of mine, and we serve on a board together. But I came to know Liz through her work, healing work across our state. I think I first met Liz in Bethel, and then just in different circles like rural human services and human services. And then we sit on a board together, a domestic violence and sexual assault board. And there's so much I could say, but just being in Liz's presence is such a blessing. I was going through an airport or a hotel somewhere in my travels, and I ran into her. I said, Liz, and we gave each other a hug and we sat down and talked. And I just, being close to her in physical space, this is pre-COVID, and just sharing some good words, I felt that healing that she brings, because it's, you know, the non-judgmental love and care for her people, which is all of us here in this virtual space across our state. And so Liz, it's such an honor to be a friend with you and a colleague. And I would like to give the mic over to you to introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Elizabeth Sunnyboy Iñupiaq. I'm Bupsutsungak, which means little mischief pincher. So if anybody's not listening, I'll use my name on you, my Yupik name on you. No, my Yupik names are Bupsutsungak and Jakalangak. Both of them are on my father's side of the family. They named after me, after my dad's side of the family. My parents are Nukak and Gagek. Gagek is from Nanvakanak and Tutalgak, and Nukak is from Chukfaktulik. So in my dad's traveling, because his dad was a storekeeper and a trader along the Kuskokwim Yukon area. Along his travels, he met my mom in Chukfaktulik, and that's how they got together. I'm originally from Pilot Station. I was born there. I lived there till I was about 8 years old. And when I was 8 years old, my dad and mom brought my oldest brother and I to the mission. And that's the last time I saw my dad, because he had TB and had to go to Sitka, and that's where he stayed until he passed away. So early on, the things that have happened to different people, some of them I experienced through the mission. Some of them were very good. My teachers and my instructors were very good in getting me prepared to go on to school, and eventually, because of the learning, get the kinds of jobs that I do today. But my grandparents on my mother's side are Sakkodak and Sikuyak, and my grandparents on my father's side are Agoktok and Jakalangak, and Jakalangak is my Yupik name also. All of them have passed on. Later on, I'll tell a little bit of story of my mother's parents that passed away, and I'll tell a little bit about what happened later on. But these are my people. All the people that I mentioned, they have also passed on. I finished my schooling at St. Mary's, went to Bethel, that's where my mother had moved to after my father passed away in Sitka. She went to her family in Kuskokwim area. So I moved to Bethel after high school from St. Mary's. So eventually I did move to my mother's side of the family. Then later on, I went to Seattle for nursing school and came back, and then also working in the alcoholism program. And that's how I got back to Bethel and started working in alcoholism program in the area. And eventually, that's how I got into helping people to recover from alcohol with experience or their own personal stories. And then eventually that's how I furthered my education in college too. So that's my name and that's my family that I mentioned.
Boyana Chaknak, Liz, so appreciate you being here with us. And I just wanted to take a moment as we begin our discussion today to acknowledge the expansiveness of our ancestors that are here with us today. From those that are directly connected to each of us in our introductions, those of us to those that are Indigenous and here with us, and to recognize in this unceded virtual space of Indigenous territory that we're gathered in today, that these are native lands, these are native airways, these are native waters that we are all a part of, that we belong to, and that no matter where we are and no matter where anyone is watching from, they are standing on Indigenous people's homelands, and to recognize that and to invite you into understanding what that means no matter where you are. And I want to thank Jessica and Val for also sharing the land acknowledgements for where they are, and to open that up to all of Alaska and to the rest of this country and across the world, because we are only here because our ancestors made it possible, no matter what happened. And so I just want to open up our conversation for our guests. We reached out to say, would you be interested in doing this? And you said yes. So I just want to open it up and ask you to share, what are you thinking? What are you wanting to share with people about your healing journey? Can't hear you, Jim, if you're talking.
I just want to maybe put a timestamp on some of this. As most of you know, the boarding school era ended in about 1974, 75, with the settlement of the Molly Hooch case, in which the state of Alaska agreed to put in schools across Alaska, villages that had at least 8 or 10 students. And I have to just kind of looking back on this time, there was a kind of a eerie silence and quiet that just kind of pervaded the land. It was kind of like, it's over. We can move on. We can do different things. We don't have to worry about our children leaving us in our villages. I can still remember and some elders in a village who said there was an eerie quiet in the village because there was no children. They were all gone. And they were sent to mission schools and BIA boarding schools, which Wrangell was one. And it was this eerie quiet that pervaded us for a while. Started, I think, we started to take a peek. If you look at me real closely, we just kind of like, maybe it's a good time to talk about this stuff. And slowly but surely, we started maybe one by one and family by family and community by community. There started to begin this dialogue. It took a long time to happen, and it's still happening. But I have to say that it's reached a point in time where, because of what happened with the discovery of 215 students in Kamloops, Canada, that it just kind of burst the dam of awareness. And some of us who had been kind of plodding along, although we were so shocked and horrified to see this, it's not like we didn't know they were there, but it just took that next level of awareness that kind of pushed everything to the forefront. And so what makes me grateful is just hearing all of these wonderful speakers and leaders, and whether they be in church groups or in leaders in their communities, starting to have this discussion. And I think that it's going to bear a lot of fruit, if you will. I'll leave it there for now, and maybe this could be a way to kind of help set the stage a little bit.
Goodness, cheesh. Jim. Fred, did you want to share anything?
Yeah, I'd like to say that my daughter wrote about me and called 77. And that's I'm going to use as my introduction. I was called number 77. I hated myself because of who I was, how I had been born, and mostly because of the face that always looked back at me. I learned I'd never be in anything worthwhile. So I decided to change. I learned the language they taught me. I went to the school they sent me and tried my best. I played their sports and I was good. I excelled and I furthered my education just like they taught me, and I was smart. I just liked the magazine and I ate their food. I even married the blonde who looked like the cover model.
Mm.
I did my best to fit in. Luckily, the hippie days allowed me to get almost to the point of being somewhat comfortable in public. Then came my kids, one after another, till there were 5 little brown faces that overlooked my 2-story house with its plumbing and refrigerator full of food. And the kids all looked like me, all of them. It was looking in the mirror again. But this time when I look at my mirror images, at these kids, I love them. I love them with a heartbreaking love that I wanted to love myself when I look in my own mirror. And then I slowly begin the journey through them to learn and accept who I was and who I was always going to be, an Indian. My kids were confident and proud I became confident and proud. They were outspoken, and I became outspoken. They knew who they were and wanted to learn where they came from. I began to teach them, and as my long ago memories resurface, I begin to heal. They forced me at time to hurry with my journey to regain my self-confidence. They were young and curious. They did not know the pain, the humiliation, the scars I carried, but they also did not know they were the ointment, the healing touch I needed to survive and begin to grow again. Through it all, I began to realize that one person did know about my struggle, the true gut-wrenching fear, sadness, and anger I carry. My wife, Linnea, knew, and she watched and waited until one day I could journey on my and share my story. This is my childhood. This is who I was, who I became, and who I am today. I am Fred Johnson. I am part of the hidden circuit of the United States, the last of that of assimilation of the owners of this country. I am no longer scared. I have regained my voice. I'm going to share my story. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fred, and just so happy that you share your voice. And I also wanted to say Masicho, thank you to Linnea, your beautiful wife, and your children who helped heal the wounds that you experienced. And also to all the students that you teach about us, about this history, so that we can come to try and understand and be support and love as you walk through your journey, and others too. So Masit Cho, thank you so much for sharing. So powerful. At this time, I would ask Liz, would you like to share anything at this time?
Okay. I was listening to Jim and Fred John as they told their stories, and I could relate to some of their stories. One of the things that happened way back in 1954, my dad was taken away from us from St. Mary's. And for me, I didn't know what was going on. I think my mom knew. I wondered when he was going to come home. And here, he had a TB and he was taken away. And he never made it home. And that's when a lot of the problems at home came about because my dad wasn't there. My mom was I believed then that my mom was helpless because our dad wasn't home. Our home wasn't complete. And she never really told me where my dad was. Why isn't he coming home until later when when she was going to leave to Bethel, where her original family is from? She had told the mission staff there to let me know what happened to my dad. When she was leaving, I wanted to get on the plane. She said, next time you'll come you'll come to Bethel where we're going to stay. Because she said the plane was full. The people there at the mission said the plane was going to be full. I had to wait in the mission to go see my mother later on. And every time there were planes that came, I asked the mission people, am I going to get on this plane? And they would say no. That happened in 59, I think 59, because my dad passed away in 56. I believe that happened in 59. And I never made it home from that on. And that's where I stayed in the mission till I graduated from high school. There's a lot of things that happened at the mission too. I'm glad I got my education. I'm glad I had a place to stay. I'm glad I gained some friends at the mission. Some were helpful, some were, some were mean, some were abusive. Some of the staff was abusive. So that's where I stayed until I graduated from high school. When I finally graduated from high school, St. Mary's in 1965, I was able to go to Bethel. When I first landed in Bethel, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where my mother was. I didn't know how big Bethel was. I asked around. Some people didn't know my mom. I didn't know a lot of my mom's side of the family either by now. I just knew my grandparents, and that's who I asked for. Sahodak and Qwich'in. Some people knew them, but they didn't tell me anything that they're not here. They would just say they're not here. Because I knew them when I was small, before I went to the mission. I grew up about till I was about maybe 6 years old with my grandmother. She's the one that first implanted the unconditional love. And I still remember that. That's what my foundation, the unconditional love that my grandmother, at the time I grew up with my grandmother, I knew that love. No matter what I did, whether I make a mistake or not, she implanted the unconditional love. And the people I asked when I landed in Bethel, they knew who they were, but they would say they're not around. They didn't tell me they both had passed away. So in Bethel, I was confused. I was lost for a while. I didn't know who to talk to. Some people didn't know my side of the family. Didn't know my mom because she recently just had, she went there. Many people didn't know her. So it was frightening for a while until one of the workers, I asked one of the workers in airport that spoke Iñupiaq, if she knew Mary Sunnyboy and where would she be. She happened to know who she was, and that's who he said he would bring me down later to my mom's place. So that whole experience, even at that period, was very frightening, and I felt at a loss right from the beginning, going to Bethel, where my mom's side of the family was. I didn't know that side of the family. I never knew them. I was a little girl when I left. When we left to Pilot Station, with having been there for a little while with my mom's side of the family, I didn't know that side of the family. I didn't grow up with. I grew up in the mission. Most of the staff were like adult figures, parent figures, but some were mean too. So that there was some physical abuse, verbal abuse. If we spoke our language, soap was put into our mouth. That's why I have the cleanest mouth today. Is because I was washed with soap. I'm just kidding. So that beginning part of having been removed from my mom and brothers and put into the mission was the most loneliest, scariest, feeling lost because I didn't know how to speak English yet. If we spoke, we got punished for speaking. I am even cold right now in telling the story, but that was the first experience of being put in the mission and not wanting to be there, and eventually got used to it and got into the books and things that we were learning in that school, which I had to put my whole self into that schooling and studying because they said someday after you graduate, you'll be able to join your family. So that was my motivation then in the beginning. But most of the time going to bed, it was the loneliest periods then, scary times. Eventually, I got to gain some friends in the school. Same people, same thing that they were doing. They were crying also, and I tried to comfort them. Maybe that's where my connection with people that were hurting came from, that I could connect with them. And I was able to console some of them, because I got used to, eventually I got used to being there. Excuse me. So I was able to console some of them. Maybe that's where some of my training that was going to help me further on in life came, where I could connect with people. I could comfort people, So that's the beginning of what my line of work was going to be. To me, that's where it came from also, and healing through that, being empty with both my parents gone, my brothers all gone, not being able to be with them more. So that part of the was a lot of times painful. And many times going to bed was even through tears, but we also had to, many of us had to get up 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning to help a nun in the bakery or in the kitchen cook up breakfast or doing something in the bakery, learning how to make bread or preparing breakfast for other students. Some of that came from that. So that early on, the mission period was very hard, very lonely, and a loss because I didn't have any parents. None of my members of my family were around. Just getting used to even the staff there, adult figures, parent figures, but some of them were very mean and are hard on a lot of us students. So that's what happened in the beginning of my being away from family and having to grow up in the rest of my life in the mission. And it wasn't my choice. Every time a plane came, they always told me that it was full, I couldn't go. Eventually, I had to take that out of my mind. I won't go in a place. I'm going to stay here. And eventually, I got used to the mission, being in the mission, staying in the mission. So that was the beginning of the early separation from everybody, family, brothers, and my mom and my dad early on. So they keep telling me when I graduate, I'll be able to go home. So I had to put my whole mind into the school and trying to study and trying to get good grades. So, I'd get closer to getting home. And I looked forward to that for many years. And that's part of what the mission life was. There was lots of punishment, a lot of, we couldn't speak our Iñupiaq language. When my daughter started to grow up, I would say a few words in Iñupiaq, but today, later on in life, she asked me, Mom, why didn't you teach me Iñupiaq? Because she used to have us people talking in Iñupiaq and telling stories and laugh. And she'd ask, what's going on? And I'd tell her, and she would get mad at me. Why didn't you teach me Iñupiaq? And I had to tell her story why. Because you'll get punished for speaking Iñupiaq in the schools, because that was my experience. You have to do what they instruct you to do, but you can't speak native tongue because you'll get punished. She tells that to other students she's with. She tells that. So because I tell her my personal story sometimes because I want her to know what really happened. And the other thing that while I was in the school, for a long time, I was angry at my mom because she didn't tell me my grandparents had died. And even after I graduate, I told her, why didn't you tell me Grandma and Grandpa died? She said she sent a letter to the mission, the people in the mission, the nuns and the priests in the mission, but they didn't tell me. Those were the first two people I looked for when I went home to my mom's side of the family. Grandma and Appa. They were the first two people I wanted to see, even before seeing my mother. But they said they had both passed away. And now for a long time I was angry at my mom for not telling me. And here she had written a letter to the mission, but the mission people didn't tell me anything about that. So that was the early part of the mission contact and separation from family. I had to carry for some time and heal through that and forgive people through that, even forgive the mission and the staff. I had to forgive them in order to not to go crazy, not to go crazy over what happened. And I had to thank them for the education I received because I was able to further my education later on. But I had to work through healing also afterwards. Otherwise, it'll mess up your mind if we don't heal through the experiences that we went through. It'll mess up our minds. I believe that had happened to a lot of the other students that I went to school with that didn't deal with what really happened at the mission. I believe today that's what happened to many of my friends. Many of them were into alcohol. Many of them were into drugs. And that early on after I graduated, I was into alcohol. But I got help to sober up. And after I sobered up, I wanted to further my education. And that's where I went to the college journey. And I enjoyed that better than when I went to the grade school and some of the high school I went through in the mission. I enjoyed that college experience later on. So that's part of my early. This is the first time. I don't know in how long I'm telling the story because some of it is true. I wanted to leave that behind. I didn't want to carry it with me, so because it'll interfere with what I need to do today. I'm glad I'm given a chance to let it out again because I see that there's some more work I need to do. Thank you, Jessica.
Oyana, Liz. So one of the things, and I'm so sorry that happened to you and so many of our relatives, that there's no reason for that. There's no excuse. There's nothing that we can say, nothing that anyone can say that makes what happened to you and everyone else okay. It's wrong on every level. It's wrong. And I know that there are a lot of people who are joining us on Facebook, and I just want to remind you all to, be gentle to each other and to yourself. That the things that are being talked about and shared today is really hard. It's hard to hear for some. We're reliving this experience that was horrific the first time, but it's so important to be able to get it out, as Liz said, because we have to in order to be able to heal and move on. My grandmother taught me a really valuable lesson when I was a child, and which was, when you lead with love, you'll never stand alone. And that's what I'm seeing here today, is that, Fred and Jim and Liz sharing their stories with incredible courage to share their horrific experiences. And we know that, so many of us have a wonderful experience and relationships with our grandparents, but knowing that there are some kids who were in boarding schools who never came home. Mm-hmm. They never made it home. And they're today someone's grandparent, someone's auntie, someone's uncle, and we'll never get that back. And whatever you are feeling today, if it is anger, if it's sadness, if it's loss, those are all absolutely valid feelings. And there's no shame in sharing these stories, because it's time for us to shine the light on the darkness that happened. And, imagine you know, wherever you are today, imagine walking outside and not hearing at the end of the school day, not hearing any children laughing, playing outside, any of that. And that was the experience of many of our parents and our grandparents and our aunties and our uncles. And I just wanted to say, Oyana, for sharing these hard truths, because these are things that can never, ever, should never, ever be repeated. And so I want to ask Jim if you would be willing to share anything that you would like to share that would be helpful.
Yeah, I thank you for that. I see some very strong connections with Liz's story, because when my dad passed away when I was 6 years old, everything changed. And my mother, who had already been drinking, lapsed into very deep alcoholism, to a point where the social workers in Fairbanks said that she had to make a choice. She could give up my younger brother Kermit and I for adoption, or she could send us to boarding school. And she chose to send us to boarding school, thinking that maybe at least we'd be together in the summertime. And so that was the beginning of those big changes. And I'd like to let you know that the whole experience, that very first year, was just so terrifying for many of us. At least in some respects, my brother and I were together. We had each other, and we spoke English, and we were bilingual. We could speak Iñupiaq and of course English. But she took us to the airport in Fairbanks with a lot of apologies that we couldn't understand because we were so young. I was 8 years old, and my brother Kermit was 6. And she was very apologetic and in tears, and said that we were going to have to go away. And she dropped us off at the airport, where we were immediately met by a number of BIA officials and social workers and teachers and people helping us get to our destination. And the first thing they did to us was they tied us together to other children with rope. Now, if you can imagine just hundreds of feet of length of rope that was entwined through our waists, through our belt buckles, and we were tied to other children. And there were dozens and dozens of children together that were tied up like this. And the other thing that they did was they gave us a yellow name tag about yay big, that tapered off and had a metal twisty tie. And on that name tag, that yellow name tag, was our name, our destination, our flights, and that kind of thing. And those were affixed to our shirts, our jackets, our coats. And there's just, if you can just imagine a bunch of little children, maybe 5, 10, 11, 12 years old, they're just a sea of these little guys and girls all tied together. And I can still remember the look of just absolute terror in some of these children that didn't really understand what was happening. They had been taken out of their villages within a short period of time and put in a very alien environment. And I can still remember I don't know if you ever seen that child's behavior especially a little child, where it's kind of like self-care or they're rocking back and forth like this. And some had their eyes closed. They didn't want to see what they were seeing. Other children had were kind of, you know how some little kids will try to blink you out because they just don't want to see you.
Mhm.
I saw so many little kids like that. They were blinking and blinking, and they'd open their eyes and they'd blink and they'd still see what we were seeing. And we were all together. So we were then put on these huge aircraft at the time. There were no jet craft at the time. They were all 4 engines. And we were taken here to Anchorage from Fairbanks. And we were met even with more kids that were coming from all over. And this is kind of like a big migration of children that was just descending on all these urban airports. And again, we were all parceled out and we were sent off to Juneau, and then met again and placed on PBYs and Widgeons, which are seaplanes that took off and landed on water. And that scared the bejesus out of a lot of us. It just increased the terror and the fear. Many children who came from tundra villages were mortified to see a landscape that was just totally different from what they were used to. Huge mountains and huge trees. And they just didn't understand why they were in this place. I remember going to Wrangell and landing in the town of Wrangell and motoring up onto on shore, and we were met by more school employees. Beginning now, they were mostly matrons who were starting to pick up the pace. They were urging us to move along, take our stuff, get on the bus, get going. We didn't have time to process our trip even before we were shuffled off onto this next leg of our journey, about 4 or 5 miles outside of town, to this place called Wrangell Institute. And there we were separated. The girls went to the girls' dorm and the boys to the boys' dorm. And in the receiving room in the boys' dorm, we were in a large open space that kind of was a multi-purpose room, but it was made out of concrete floor. And the first thing they told us to do was to completely strip naked. Take off your clothes, take off your shirts, take off your pants, take off your shirts, take off your socks and your shoes and your coats. And a lot of children did not understand the commands that were being made in English. And some matrons were angry that we didn't understand. And they would rush over to a little guy and then just literally rip his shirt off. And that was a message to us to maybe we better get our own selves unclothed so that we don't suffer that embarrassment or shame of having our clothing ripped off like that. And we were quiet. We were standing and we were told to get in line. We had to face a particular way. And here we are, we're basically all strangers, all strange children. The only one I knew, of course, was my brother, Kermit. And the next step, by the way, they took all of our clothing away and they took all of our suitcases and our bags and any possessions we had. And we never saw them again. But here we are. We're going. The next step is to get our haircuts, and I'm sure Fred remembers this. We had to. We get totally shorn. I mean, there was a barber with an industrial hair cutter that just kind of like took all of our hair off, and I remember being toward the back of the line, and as I was getting closer and closer to the barber, I could see this pile of hair, this growing around his feet from all the other children's hair that got intermingled with from his effort. And the next thing, of course, we had to go up into our shower. We had to dip our feet into some caustic purple dye kind of thing. And we also had to, they pushed us into this another open room that had shower spigots coming out. They were already on. And there was lots of lye soap, rags, cloth to wash ourselves. And we were instructed to bathe. And I can still remember a lot of children did not understand, nor could they knew how to clean themselves or bathe themselves. And again, matrons would run into the shower room, get a floor brush and get lye soap and then start scrubbing a little kid to a point where the child was bleeding. The brush was peeling off the skin off his back, and the kid is screaming. And it was another message to us that we better clean ourselves or face that angry matron who was going to clean us. And so we did that. And the next thing, of course, was we got in line. Everything is in military formation. We had to get in line to the next step, which was to get our clothing, our government issued clothing. And this is where we were given our numbers. Now, I know Fred talked about his number 77. By the time I got to Wrangell, I had a 2-digit number for each of the 6 years that I was there. And heaven help you if you forgot your number, because that was everything was done in many ways using your number. And clothing was marked with indelible ink with your number. Your mail was given or sent out by your number. A lot of children had difficult names, both first names and last names. And so many matrons thought it was easier and convenient just to call us by our number. And I know so many people my age, when we get together and talk about that experience, a lot of kids thought their name was their number. Just kind of let that sit in a bit. Can you imagine going through the entire dorm life experience and only being referred to by your number? We were sent into the military style barracks. The dorm rooms were partitioned off where we could look over or under. There was 4 bunk beds, so there was 8 children, roughly 8 children to a bed, to a room. And the little guys got the lower bunks, and the bigger kids got the top bunk. But the boys' dorm was separated into a little boys' dorm and a big boys' dorm. And I remember the first time my brother and I were at Wrangell, we were put into the little boys' dorm at the lower level. And we were all assigned bunks. And I can still remember, I know Liz talked a little bit about it, about children crying, but I can still remember it like it was yesterday or last night, that when the lights went off, a little 5-year-old would start whimpering a little bit and maybe crying under his breath. And then it got louder and louder. And pretty soon, another child in that room started crying. And it caught on. And I can still remember many times where the entire dorm was just crying into the night. And we basically cried ourselves to sleep.
Yeah.
We woke up, our eyes were puppy. We had gunk in them. We couldn't open them. Our eyes were swollen. And we started our day. And that happened for many weeks until toward the middle of the school year, no child cried. It was, when children cry, they need you, they want you to hold them, they want you to tell them they love you, you're loved. And, but no matrons did that. And pretty soon we became pretty hard-hearted about knowing that it was useless to cry because no one's going to come and comfort us and tell us that we're okay. So I just, I think the eerie part of it all was when toward the middle of the year, no child cried anymore.
Mhm.
The food, I know Fred talked about, we're starting to eat Western foods, American food. So many of us children came from communities that only ate traditional native foods. And for us to have to eat industrial Western foods was just played havoc with our bodies. We had to eat canned, huge industrial size canned meats and vegetables. And I remember drinking powdered milk and powdered juice, and we ate powdered eggs. And it disrupted our bodies to a point where it wasn't long for most of us started to have stomach aches and stomach pains.
Mhm.
Some of us started vomiting, and some of us had diarrhea, and then some of us did all of those things. And this lasted for a number of weeks until our bodies could acclimate to the food. But in the meantime, children were soiling their pants. They were soiling their beds. There were a lot of little children peed in bed anyway because of their age. But to compound it with having to just vomit up foods, explosive vomiting, I can still remember, and diarrhea was just rampant in the little boys' dorm. It took a while for us to get used to it, but we finally started acclimating to that food. The first days of class were also traumatic. We went to everything, I should say, by a bell. A bell would ring and we had to do this in formation. A bell rang, we had to do that in formation.
Name almost every name on my.
And so what I thought I'd say is that everything was done in English. If you got caught speaking your language, you got punished. And because I could speak English, I knew what the rule was. But I saw so many of my friends that I grew up with who came from villages that didn't speak any English whatsoever. And I still remember a young lad who came to Wrangell after I had been there for a number of years, who absolutely spoke no English. And many of you know him as Nelson Iñupiaq. He was, I still remember him clearly there, just like Fred remembers me when he was in the big boys dorm and I was in the little boys dorm. But the punishments were not only in the classroom, like putting you on a high stool wearing a dunce cap. They stuck you in closets. They're shaming you. It was total, you couldn't escape from someone overhearing you and punishing you if you spoke your language. In the boys' dorm, it was worse because the matrons ruled in there, and they just totally, they had all kinds of ways to punish you, whippings, spankings, beatings, even such thing as a gauntlet. I don't know if you heard of a gauntlet, but again, there seems to be a preference for little boys becoming naked before we would run down a line of other children on both sides of us who were ordered to hit us with their belts. And sometimes we were ordered to run up and down that line of children. And those matrons made it very clear that if you don't hit very hard, you'll be next. And so it became, we wanted to show our matrons that we were just putting our whole effort into hitting our friends and relatives. And that happened so many times. Until children, some kids got hit with belt buckles and broke their skin. I still remember a cat of nine tails, a paddle that had a little slender paddle that had holes in it. And a matron would hit so angrily at a naked child, that it raised little round blood blisters all over his back, in his butt, and back of his legs. It was, oh gosh, we had a matron who was, he was a sadist. He enjoyed inflicting pain, and he enjoyed doing that. I remember when I was about 11 or 12 years old, a friend of mine was hit by a matron, that same matron, so hard that it broke his jaw, and the side of his face splayed open because of where the teeth was. It just kind of fell open. His mouth became huge on one side, and he started bleeding profusely, and he was immediately unconscious. And the little guy was taken to the town of Wrangell, where he was, they took him someplace, I should say, but when he came back, his mouth was wired shut, and he could only eat through a straw. And for the next couple of months, he was a daily reminder that matron could do anything and get away with it, because that matron was never punished, never reprimanded, never went to jail. And we kind of lived in fear whenever he was on duty. And we always tried to figure out ways to avoid him. We were not always successful. A friend of mine in the Bethel region area and I were wrestling, and that seemed to be a violation of this sadist's rule. And he ordered us into the shower and told us to get undressed and become naked again. And he used a fire hose that he had just outside the door. And he turned that fire hose on us and just kind of blew us around in the room with that hose. It was so powerful and it was so cold. And my friend was screaming because he had an ear infection in both of his ears. And that cold, piercing water got inside. And he was just literally screaming. But that matron was enjoying every bit of it. And just like that, he quit. And we were able to go about our business. And and of course, I'm talking about there is psychological abuse and emotional abuse and even sexual abuse. Yes, there is. And I witnessed that as well. I wrote, like Liz, I wrote home. Well, in this case, I wrote to my mother about abuses that I saw in my little language that I could write. And I thought my mom didn't care because she didn't do anything about what I was telling her. Nothing happened. And so I thought maybe she just didn't care. And it was years later when I was an adult, that memory popped into her head. She said, I remember getting a letter from you, but so many of your words were blacked out. And that was when I learned that the school was also monitoring our letters coming in and going out. And I couldn't, and whatever I told my mom, she never saw. I remember little girls, 11, 12, and 13-year-old girls, going home in the middle of the school year pregnant because they had been raped and molested in the classroom and in the administrators' offices on the campus, just by a whole variety of people. I knew one gal who was sexually abused almost on a daily basis, that she told me years later, that I had grown up in boarding school with. And he would just call for her. And teachers had no choice but to obey the rules, obey the law, or not the law, but their boss's orders. And so this little girl was raped for almost 8 years of her life while she was there. In the boys' dorm, it seemed to attract pedophiles. We had lots of men and women who loved to prey on children, boys, in the boys' dorm. And 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old boys were prime for these matrons who enjoyed working at night. And this also happened for many years. Some of these children who were molested, some of these boys who were molested at 5, 6, 7, and 8-year-olds became molesters themselves when they started turning around 12, 13, and 14 years old. And then became kind of like a cycle of sexual violence at night. Kids were sodomized in their beds and in the bathrooms. It was just, if there was ever a crazy movie to ever be made, it has to include those kind of scenes. Because it was the most horrifying experience I ever had. And I can still remember years and years later having this anger in me. And if it wasn't for Susan, who told me I should go get help because I was being mean to my family. I was beating them up. I had this anger. I didn't know where it was coming from. And thank goodness for that advice. I went and got help. And it was through that kind of unraveling these experiences I had that I was sexually molested in the boys' dorm. I I started understanding where that was very, very deeply into my psyche even. And I saw this violence almost on a daily basis. And it was kind of like learned behavior in some ways. I didn't know how to be parents to my own children because I had no role models. I was in boarding school for 10 years from 1955 to 1965. And I could relate to my 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, up until the time they were 8 years old. And that's the year I went to Wrangell. And I kind of checked out, I think, for 10 years of their lives. And thank goodness for Susan, who picked it up. I thank God they survived in spite of me. But I think one of the biggest things that happened too is that it created estrangement. Over the years, I became more and more distant from my mother, who already had her own set of problems with alcohol. But that separation for 9 or 10 months out of the year for 10 years plays a heavy toll on you. And I can still remember the first year going home. We were about to go home. And I can still remember my younger brother Kermit saying, I wonder if our mother will remember us. I wonder if she will recognize us. And at the time, I never thought much of it, but I had to think years later that can there be so many other little children that had those same kind of feelings, you know? Will they still love us? Will they still remember us? That's kind of and of course over time, when I graduated from Mount Edgecombe in '65, I didn't go home. I didn't feel an affinity for home or place or family. That's where I'd like to stop right now. Thank you.
Jim. I can't imagine and to hear you folks, Jim and Liz and Fred, sharing these truths, these things that happened to you and to so many of our other children. My heart is breaking, but I'm also so honored to be able to be here to bear witness to your story and to your truth and to the healing that you folks have been sharing about how you found your light to follow in your life despite all of these things. And that you are so brave to be able to share with all of us these things, to let there be, as Val said earlier, light in these dark places, so that these atrocities, this terrorism, this genocide against our people can be known for what it is, so that we have a chance for things to be made right. And for all the people who are watching, the live stream, or who will watch the live stream because it's being recorded and it will be shared on our Facebook page and on our YouTube as well. And it's live streaming to our First Alaskans webpage. We've been posting some healing resources so that as you're bearing witness to the truth of Jim LaBelle, of Fred John, and of Liz Sunnyboy, and you're thinking about your ancestors and your great-grandparents and grandparents and parents and even yourself, that you can reach out to these healing resources and get the support and get the help so that you know you're not alone, and that you know that you are loved, that you are so loved. And as we are just at the beginning of this moment of reckoning in this country, we have to also acknowledge that our survivors here, they have been reckoning with this since it began. And it's not new for them. And I want to honor you folks for being able to share these things with us, and to not be apologetic about it, and to not try to soften it and make it nice for other people to be made comfortable in it. That is not our job. Our job is not to seek comfort in these atrocities. Our job is to understand them, to lift them up, to fight for you now, and to make sure that these things never come to pass or never repeated again. And so I just want to appreciate you for that bravery and that truth telling. And, you know, a lot of our people, because of the way that you guys just described that they were treated in these places, it's almost like Stockholm syndrome, where they have a need to seek approval and to comfort those who did the harm to them. And we know that this is part of the healing process too. And I just want to affirm and lift you folks up to not spare us the truth, not spare anyone the truth. We have to hear it, and we have to hold all those responsible accountable, those systems and institutions, those organizations who profited, those businesses, those families, those people who profited and benefited from what was done to our children and is still being done, until we bring every last one of them home, until we have a solid, sustained plan for intergenerational healing. So I just want to thank you folks so much for telling these truths. And we have a couple numbers I want to share out loud so that those who are watching also have a chance to reach out if they need support. There's a national suicide prevention line. It's 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-TALK. Another number that is a really incredible resource for Native people is the Strong Hearts Native Helpline, 1-844-7-NATIVE, 1-844-7-NATIVE. And that number in its entirety is 1-844-762-8483. Again, that's 1-844-762-8483. And then there's also a crisis line for Indian residential schools. This one was created in Canada, and those who are able to access it, you are welcome to as well. It is 1-866-925-4419. And 1-800-721-0066. These are a lot of numbers, but we know that this is going to be accessible by recording later too, so people can replay it to catch the numbers. And I also want to let you folks know here in Alaska that the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium also has a telehealth behavioral health wellness clinic, and you can call 1-833-642-2492. Again, that's 1-833-642-2492. And they have clinic hours as well. So you are not alone if you are feeling isolated or alone and you're wondering how to handle all of these feelings and emotions. We have some incredible people who are standing in line at these numbers to be able to help you and support you. And there's a network of people across the state. Our healers, our Native healers have been here praying and lifting people up for generations, and we still have them here. And I just want to encourage everyone, you know, we are beyond the time when people had to feel shame or carry shame about being Native or about needing help from counselors or other providers. We are past that time. We need you folks. We need every single Native person to be alive and to heal and to find support. So reach out to us too if you need a hand getting in contact with these folks. But I wanted to just take that moment after such tremendous sharing by our elders to put those numbers out there and to call attention to those resources, and also give our elders a chance to take a breath and do that breathing that's so necessary to help us get ourselves back to a little bit more of a center, and to feel a moment of reprieve from the pressure of talking. You've done so much amazing sharing right now, and we want to continue to have you folks speak. But I did want to make sure to push pause and let you folks take a breather for a minute. And I'll invite Nurr'araaluk and Jessica if they wanted to share any words too, as we let our elders take a little bit of a break for a moment.
So one of the things that I just noticed, not only in this sharing today, but just hearing my mom and, you know, relatives in my family talk about this experience after decades, really finally feeling comfortable to say anything after decades. One of the things that I see every time, and I heard it here today too, is just the incredible love these children had for each other, and kids who were children themselves protecting other younger children, and really acting as parents when they were children themselves, and 7-year-olds acting as parents to 5-year-olds, even though that child was a 7-year-old. And I know that just hearing my mom talk was just, you know, the shame that she carried for not being able to protect others at times. And, you know, she was not in a position of power. And when, even when children did that for each other, they did so at incredible risk and were targeted even more so for doing that. And the love that you shared and showed to each other then, we see it now, decades later, that you share that love for each other. And I just, it's amazing. It's just incredible. And we love you all so much.
Yeah, Masi Cho for sharing your story, Jim and Liz and Fred. I'm so sorry those things happened and it wasn't your fault. And I just listening to your stories, you know, feeling the depths of the pain and the shame and the healing that you've all walked through is just an incredible thing to be a part of. I also wanted to just say that, you know, listening to you and think how you thought about your parents and your grandparents is that I know that they loved you so much. And, you know, it's just such a crime what they were made to believe, you know, that they were sending you somewhere that would help you. And yet we know that's not true. And I just know from listening, it's just to other elders too, that just how much they love their children, how much your parents and your grandparents loved you and missed you every single day. And so I just want to honor that and honor each one of you. I cry with you, and like those healing tears are really good. And for everybody listening online, you know, these are difficult things to hear, but I loved what LaBelle shared about shining a light on it and bringing it out of the dark, because it's our responsibility to heal with our people together. We are in this life together, and we uplift you, and our hearts are with each one of you today. And I take that responsibility seriously, to speak truth and to heal with you and to be in this space with you. So masicho. And I honor each one of you and your story and its truth.
Yeah, Ganesh, how I really appreciate you guys reinforcing those important messages too, that it is our responsibility as a community to hold each other up and take care of each other and follow in the footsteps of our ancestors who led with love. And you folks are people who exemplify that. Each of you brings a healing with you. In each of your presence, I have felt it. I have been the beneficiary of the love and the care that you share for our people and the leadership that you always put forward. And we know, we know that the things that have happened to our families were done with intention. This was done on purpose to our people, to break us. It is a miracle that we are still surviving today as Native peoples on this planet, in our homelands. All these things that were done to us to cause these things in this breakage, and yet we are still here. And that is a testament to the strength of our ancestors and to our survivors, to you folks. So cannot thank you enough or recognize enough. And as hard as it may be to hear these truths and these stories, it does not compare at all to the hardness of having to live it and to carry it for so many years. And so we as a community, collectively, we are on a journey to healing, but it will not come at the pace of comfort. It will come at the pace of truth. And we have to make sure ourselves we're strong enough and that we're doing what we need to do to be able to be in this healing work together. And it's that space that I want to open back up and see if our elders who are here, if any of you three might want to share some more thoughts with us. Anything that you want to share, however you want to share it. And I'll see if Fred, did you want to say anything or share anything right now? Oh, you're on mute, Fred. On mute.
Okay. There. Okay.
Can hear you good.
I'm having a little difficulty with having two.
They hear you?
I've got it.
Yes,
Anyway,
we can hear him.
Every time I talk, I got feedback, so I'm having a hard time telling stories or doing everything. But one thing I like to say, when I was a little kid in Wrangell, we had Dick and Jane book, and I remember sitting in the library up on the second story on the middle building, and then there was a bunch of ship, pictures all over. And I remember the boat out on the ocean. And I sat there dreaming. I wish I was on one of those ships, sailing out of there to some place where I would have mother and daddy and a dog like Spot and a sister probably like Sally. And I sat there and I always wondered if my mom or my dad loved me, because I didn't know what I was doing there. I didn't know if I made a mistake or I was being a bad boy. But it was like that. At night, like James said, I was one of those that cried with the rest of the student there. I was with the Minto boys when they came into rank, and about a year later, they start building a raft to escape and try to go home. I remember trying to help them. Anyway, somebody found out about it. One day we went down and the raft was all destroyed. Maybe it was best because I don't think we could, I think we would be lost. There was so much abuse there, sexual, physical, spiritual, that it took me a long time to come home. I was around 50 when I went to, no, 60 I think, when I went to Old Men Recovery Camp, and there Dorothy Bell Collick told me, tell your story. It took me about one week to tell my story, because it hurts so much to talk about those being in my self-made prison all those years. In place, I didn't have trust for anybody out there. But when I start telling my story, memories start coming, and then I start being free. They had counselors there. Every time I couldn't talk no more, they took me in a back room and they reassured me I was a good guy. I was a human being. I had compassion, which I lost all those years, start coming back to me for other people. I was hurt so bad. I know what hurt was. I know what alcohol to try to drive them. And I became who I am today. I try to help. I try to be there for people that are hurting, because I know what hurting is. It was a long time, but I came home to my children, to my wife, to my family, to my clan, my tribe. I came home, and I'm still working on. And I just want to thank you, all the people out there that help me in different way on Facebook, and I put a lot of stories out there of healing, boarding school, and that's for everybody. That's for everybody. People want me to write a book. The book always have an end. I don't like that. I want my story to be out there, to heal, to be with you when you go right time. And I thank you, Elizabeth, the rest of you. What do you call it? Your company. I'm getting old, I couldn't think of it. Anyway, I'm glad I was on here. And everything that Jim, LaBelle say, I am with him because I've been through the same thing he has. We both went through. And that's why we're friends now. We were friends before, but I met him and his brother in Wrangell, and I was with his brother the night before he left for Vietnam. He was my friend. That's the last time I saw him. Yeah. And Wrangell is just like me being in Vietnam. We were never welcome home. We were kind of like a different clan that we didn't understand ourselves. People didn't understand why we never talk or tell our story, or that uncle that always sat there by him, never saying a word about his past. That's from Wrangell. And thousands of us are out there. I'm free now. I go tell my story. Thank you.
Masicho, Fred, you're precious to us, and your stories we all love on Facebook. I'm loving seeing you build your cabin too, you and Linnea, so you can go home and have good retirement along the river and enjoy life. And you have such wisdom and love in your heart to help everyone else heal. And I hope we can be that for you too, as we gently listen. And, a lot of people comment on your stories because you help heal those wounds for other people who don't necessarily understand what happened in their own families. And for some of us, I remember hearing it for the first time in college in a class, Alaska Native Studies 242. And what happened to our elders, all of you. And I tell people it felt like somebody slapped me in the face because I was so angry and hurt. And, I'd grown up going to church and I was so confused about everything. And so when you tell your stories, it helps us to understand ourselves, our parents, our grandparents, those who have passed on. So thank you. Liz, would you like to share a little bit?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I can't see anybody on my tablet, but I can hear people talking. I want to thank Jim LaBelle and Fred John for their stories, their courage to tell the truth, all in everything that they've experienced with their peers and even brothers and sisters in the school that the school that they went through. I want to thank them both for the courage that they're sharing. And thank you for allowing me to share just a little bit of what happened when I was going to the mission school. It was a lonely time. It was, I had to really, I guess for not, maybe forgetting who I am, I had to really, really study and try my best to do well in school so that I could get out of the mission and finally see my family. That's what I went through going to school. A lot of times when I first got there, I didn't understand when they were talking to me in English. And because I didn't answer, I got punished for that. So I had to really pay attention to what they were saying and what they were talking about so that maybe somehow I could answer a little bit. So maybe I won't get punished for not answering them or responding to them. So that was the early on. But eventually, as I continued to school from grade school to high school, it was like almost I did get used to it. I wasn't punished anymore because I was excelling in school. I was listening to the subjects that were handed out to us or the instructor talking to us. I had to listen really good and even use those for competing in school so that I do well. A lot of those things. I was very shy and very scared in the beginning, but when one of the priests had us do he wanted to hear us talk from one end of the gym. He was on the other end, and we were on the other side. And he said he had to be able to hear us talk or tell our stories. That's what that's what gave me courage to start talking loud and get my opinion in that way. And I'm grateful for that priest that did that to me. Although I was embarrassed, I was scared, I was petrified to do that because I was a very shy person. You wouldn't think that today. But that's the way that priest, I never forget who he is, but that's the way that priest taught me to be able to express myself and to have people hear what I needed to share. So that was good for me, for that priest to do that. There's other staff there that I really appreciate, the cook in the kitchen. At least I was able to see what she was cooking and be able to do that when I got out of the mission, because I didn't know how to cook. I didn't know how to take care of myself, but I learned how to, by watching, I learned how to do some things that I, that I thought that I'll be able to survive when I got out of the high school. Still going home, I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where in Bethel my mother was. The only communication I had from her was the letters, but that didn't tell me where she was. Finally graduating from high school, I was able to go home, but because of all the confusion and the frustration and anger I was feeling and blaming my mom for not, I thought that she didn't tell me my grandmother had passed away, my appa had passed away. I was so angry at her too. And at that time, my mother was into alcohol. She was drinking when I went home. But all in all, what I'm grateful for is that although it was hard to be in that mission with no family around, it helped it helped to save my life because of my mother, because she was drinking. I don't know what would have happened. My brothers were taken away and put into uh, another uh, missions. I'm not mission. Another school upriver from Bethel. Um, so I'm grateful that I was in the mission out. I later on I'm grateful, I say, because I was saved from what would have happened if I had gone with my mother to Bethel when she left. So in a way I felt grateful for that, because I was able to graduate from high school, complete my 8th grade, and also graduate from high school in preparation for what I was going to do afterwards. I really didn't know what I was going to do after graduation. I, I, I really didn't know. All I wanted to do was go home to my mom and the rest of the family. Um, so that was when I got into the plane to go to Bethel. I was deathly scared, because that was the first time I went on a plane. I was really scared going home. Going to Bethel. But we finally landed in Bethel. From there, there's some things like people needed babysitters. I babysit because I knew how to take care of kids, children, because I helped to greet and work with students that were hurting and in pain in the mission. I was able to do that. So it was like my preparation to help, even if when I went home, um, children that were hurting because maybe their parents were drunk or whatever. So I was able to do that. But later on in life, after graduation, I tried alcohol, and I got addicted to it right away. And I found out that it was an escape from all the emotions I was going through, the fear, the frustration, and everything I was going through. So I went on that trip for maybe about 10, 12 years. Um, Alcohol drunk period for about 10, 12 years. And then I was fortunate. I had a cousin that was working for BIA. Her and her boss came to Bethel one time, and I met with her, and she asked me what I was doing, and I said nothing. I'm not doing anything. I've been on drunks many times, and she took an interest in me and talked to his boss about putting me to community college or college someplace where maybe it would be better for me to be. So that's how I got introduced to furthering my education. And then I went to community college in Seattle and got training there. And then I went to to a university where I was going to nursing school. So those were some blessings in my later on in life. And then in Seattle, I did get sober. I sobered up in Seattle, and that's when my um, these kinds of things, experiences, I was able to tell those stories and heal through some of them. So that was in Seattle. I sobered up in 1971, and that's when I put my whole self into helping people to recover. And in nursing school, I love to take care of elders. I had many elders I took care of when I completed my nursing school. And that's where I listened to their stories, because in in memory of my grandmother, I love to be with elders. And there were elders from Alaska also. That's where I started to train myself back again for my Iñupiaq tongue. And I long time ago I heard somebody say, "You never lose your language. It's just placed further in to be brought out someday." So when I took care of elders that went to, I put my name in the listing for people that the hospitals, if there's Yupik person in the hospitals for language bank, for them to contact me if they're same language that I have, I can translate for people in the hospital. That's how I got to meet our elders in the hospitals, and I did translating there, and that's how it helped me to bring back my language. And I was so glad I did that, because when I finally went home, I was hired in the alcoholism program, where I spent 6 years in the alcoholism program in Bethel, working with different people that were addicted and needed help. So that's how I got into helping people in recovery, so that, I wanted them to experience some good things that are happening after sobriety because of these things that happened to me. So, and I wanted to help people in their addictions to sober up and start uh, um, telling their personal stories, talking about what things have happened to them that brought them to that addiction, you know. So in that way, uh, I wanted to reach out to people. Further on, I moved to YKC. That's where I started working in villages, communities, statewide, in things, anything that I've learned in the helping field, I was able to do that. So, and because people gave me help me to sober up, I wanted to reach out and help other people and thank the people that helped me. So I was in helping field. It's been over 30 years now. I worked for YKHC for 20 years, 25 years, doing community and community um, recovery activities, supervised 20 community youth advocates to sober up and get jobs in YKHC as community youth advocates, so they can work with young people before they get into a lot of problems and issues that they couldn't handle later on if they tried to, but with help they could do that. So these are the things, that rewards that I got after sobering up and um, being able, getting help from other people to sober up and go on the sobriety field. So since 71, I've been sober, and still want to reach out to people. One of the best things that I did is learning again to speak the Yupik language, because when I worked for YKHC, we started working out in the villages, bringing recovery activities out in the villages. And I was able to translate for people when they go out into communities, different resource people, when they go out to communities, I was able to translate for them, so that not only uh, English speaking people are understanding what we're given, but I wanted our elders and our young people to understand uh, the gifts that we're receiving from people that want to help people. So that I dedicated that life to doing that, in learning to speak my Yupik language again, so that I'd be able to work with the elders in the YKHC we trained with elders for about 15 years, and so that the trainings we got from elders, I've got all that information. So today, I work for Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium part-time, but I'm doing traditional teaching over Zoom program for many community people now. So those are the rewards after sobriety that I wanted to share and give out to people. I thank you for inviting me today and having me tell a little bit of that beginning story and what it is like today. Thank you.
Nutanatam Liz.
Mhm.
Ilumun.
Thank
All
you.
of your comments were so good and right on, absolutely truthful.
Mhm.
And I know that that these are challenging things to talk about
Yeah.
because every time that happens, you're reliving that experience
Mhm.
and recognizing that not everyone is able to do that in a way that you're coming from a position of strength where you're helping other people through that. And all three of you have done that with us today. And I'm looking at the time, and I know we said we were going to go from 10 to noon, but this is so good, so good. It's hard, but it's an important conversation. It's an important discussion. We recognize that some folks may have to log off, and we understand that. And I wanted to ask, maybe Jim, did you want to offer any final words or closing comments before, and then I think we'll go to Fred and then to Liz for final comments. So Jim?
I just am grateful to have been invited to help share some stories of our shared history. It's just not my story. It's many of us. And I learned early on that there are going to be people who find it difficult to share their stories. So I thought maybe by telling mine, it would give them courage to tell theirs. So thank you very much.
Iñupiaq, Jim. Fred, would you like to share a few closing words? You're on mute, Fred. You're on mute still.
Let me do.
There you go.
You got it?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I'd just like to say, James and I were at Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and we visit the gray, those kids that never came. There was hundreds of gray. I didn't, the rest gave gift to them. Lene and I, we bought little candy, and we put candy on top of each tombstone of them children, just to let them know we care and we still think about them and love them. There's thousands of us that went through boarding school and were never welcome.
Mhm.
They didn't know what was wrong with us, why we were that way, why alcohol and other things take over our life. Thankful for a lot of us that came back. There's still some out there that walk good, but Some of them never can. They're so institutionalized. That's the only life they know. I just want to say, we all got to come home. We all got to be welcome. We want to be welcome. We want to walk along with our brothers and sisters in this culture that I felt in love. I fell back in love with. Thank you, everybody there. And good to see you, Jessica.
Yeah.
We just thank you for giving us this little time to tell us. And to the people out there in that's listening, and thank you. I hope you learned a little of what happened to thousands and thousands of us. I had older brother that lived into their 80s and sisters that never came home and passed on into the beautiful without returning. Just thank you today. And I thank my Creator for you all. Amen.
Amen.
How Janan, Fred. I love that. And I'm gonna carry that and quote you about, it's time for all of us to come home. That's such a powerful and important message. So how for that. Liz, did you want to share any closing thoughts?
Closing what?
Closing
Okay.
thoughts. Final.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for the who's the other one? Jim, for your stories and encouragement in what we're doing today. It's always good to hear people tell their stories. My Appa Peter Jacob Sr. found that out as part of our training. When we had like grief cycle, did the grief cycle, and people started talking about their experiences with feelings, and my Appa really reinforced that over and over. Once we start telling our stories along with feelings, we're in the road to recovery. That's what he always said, because he was our elder a lot of times in the trainings we had in Yukon Kuskokwim area. So with his statement, I appreciate Fred and Jim's stories along with mine. Thank you. As long as we tell our stories, even it's really hard to tell it, we're like my Appa said, we're in the road to recovery already. So and then the other thing my Appa always say, especially to men, if you can't tell, if the men can't tell their stories to other people, go out in nature. Nature is your healing. The trees are your healing. Go out and talk to them. Go out and cry it out to them. They'll hear you and they'll take your pain away. That's what my Appa Peter Jacob used to share in the circles like this. He always encouraged people to tell their stories along with feelings. And that's what we learned from the elders that were in training with us throughout the 20 years we worked with them. So I just wanted to share that. I want to thank Alaska Institute for inviting us and inviting me also. And that helped me to let go of that part of that story that was painful. Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Boyana Chuknak, Liz, I'm so happy that you were able to join us, and Fred and Jim, because this movement that is beginning to happen and pick up steam needs to make sure that it is being led by the voices, the knowledge, and the wisdom of our survivors, of our elders. And you folks have helped to create a space to make it welcome for other survivors to tell their truths. And as we keep moving forward, we want to make sure that our community knows that these things that were done to break us have such powerful intergenerational impacts. And I want our young people to know that if you're feeling like only your family has issues, or that there's something wrong with you or your community or your people, these are the reasons why we feel those things. Somebody planted these feelings inside of us, and we have to take and pull those weeds out, because that is not who we are and not who our peoples are. And we are strong, and our ancestors took care of Alaska for thousands of years, over 10,000 years and counting. And we come from good people. We come from the best people who love their children, and horrific things were done. And this is the period of time where we get to make sure those truths were told and hold those systems accountable. So I just want to say with all my heart, Ich Sikhan, you I love. Dang di koyadang, you I love. Thank you so much for taking time with us today. And we know that you are called upon in all kinds of ways to help our community and lead us. And today you stepped forward and offered this guidance during a really hard time as people try to adjust to hearing these truths and making space for these truths. In order for us to host this space today, we reached out to you folks, and you said yes. And I just love that about you guys. Your spirit is always saying yes. And we get the benefit of that. And I also want to thank our co-sponsors who all wanted to make sure that this event and the time that we had with you would be held up and recognized across the state and the country. So I want to thank our co-sponsors, the National Native American Boarding School Healing Coalition. Short form of that is NABS. And Jim is a board member of NABS, and they're doing incredibly important work across the country. So much so that just moments ago, I got a text that came in that Senator Warren has introduced a bill to create a Truth and Healing Commission on boarding school legacy in this country. So that just happened now. Yeah, and we also know that Senator Murkowski has already or is about to introduce a resolution to make this National Day of Remembrance permanent as a stepping stone and a beginning as well to continue to support these truths being told. I also want to thank our other co-sponsors, Central Council of Tlingit and Haida Indian Tribes of Alaska. I know President Peterson really wanted to be with us today, but his tribal business called him away. Alaska Native Heritage Center, Alaska Children's Trust, Native Peoples Action, Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium, who co-sponsored this, and then Nurr'araaluk was so good to join us today and be with us. Danakanaga and the Fairbanks Native Association. And we just really are grateful for those organizations for helping to lift up this platform for these voices and stories to be told. So so much. And on behalf of First Alaskans Institute, I want to thank you from our board and from our staff for being with us on this live stream. We will have it on our YouTube, on the First Alaskans Institute YouTube as well, and it will be a recording here on Facebook. just for those who want to watch it again or listen to it again or share it with others who couldn't be with us. So with that, I'll say my farewells for now, and I'll invite Nurr'araaluk to share a few words and of farewell, and then Jessica is going to end on a note for us with a poem.
Gwich'in Lagunai, and again, Gwich'in to Jim and Fred and to Liz for sharing your incredible lived experience, which I know was really hard, but also really healing, and really thank you for doing that for people who aren't here to be able to share that story, or others who aren't able to put into words all that you have experienced. The last thing I just wanted to say is Gwich'in to Lagunai and Jessica for holding this incredible space, and finally, Gwich'in, I love you all so much. Jessica?
Yes, Masit Cho to First Alaskans Institute and Lagunai, our fearless and amazing leader who always is forward thinking and, you know, not afraid to like put forth what is needed. And so we lift you up, sister, and thank you for always being that leader for us. And I want to say Masit Cho to Fred, Jim, and Liz. I carry your stories with honor, and I will continue to reach out to you, and I love your posts and encourage you to shed light on history and your experience and your truths. And I'm gonna keep you in my healing thoughts and prayers as you continue to walk forward and share. Masit Cho, and as we say in Gwich'in, Nedithan, which means I love you. I wanted to share a poem to end by Abigail Echohawk. I did seek her permission to share this poem because it was just so beautiful. And it's untitled. When they buried the children, what they didn't know, they were lovingly embraced by the land, held and cradled in a mother's heart. The trees wept for them. With the wind, they sang mourning songs their mothers didn't know how to sing, bending branches to touch the earth around them. The Creator cried for them, the tears fall like rain. Mother Earth held them until they could be found. Now our voices sing the morning songs with the trees, the wind. Light sacred fire, ensure they are never forgotten as we sing justice. And I just really love that poem because when the news of Kamloops came out, and just knowing what Jim and Fred and Liz shared about their friends that, you know, passed on, just knowing that we're so connected to the land, it gave me some peace when I read that poem. And for those who never got a chance to share their experience. So I just want to thank Abigail for writing that beautiful poem. And I want to thank all of you who are out there listening today and holding up Fred and Jim and Liz as they tell their stories. And we just love you all. So Masit Cho.
Masit Cho so much. I also want to thank
Abigail's poem.
Yeah, we just read Abigail's poem. I was just going to share that Fred and Abigail are related, and also that Jessica serves on the board of Fairbanks Native Association, and we're so grateful for that support, Jess. And I wanted to thank Xaadaas, Angela Gonzalez, who opened us with a prayer and who ran tech support and made sure that all of those healing resources were getting shared out in the live stream for everyone as well. And she's a healer herself, and she just put so much love into the work. I wanted to appreciate her. So as we close out, everyone, just I want to ask you to do something kind for yourself after we're done. I want to ask you to drink some water. The power of water is so healing. And this has been an intense and beautiful and painful couple hours we've shared together. So drink some water, go outside and smell some fresh air if you can, or sniffle a baby's cheeks, and hug the people around you or send them a message. Today is an intense day across our country and Canada. And the love that we share is what our elders have shown by example, is what our healing path is made of. So hawa everyone for being with us. And we're going to sign off now. So thank you so much, everyone, and our co-hosts and our elders. Be well. Love you, folks.